week's shout out goes to Bush Boy Beehives. Looking for delicious raw honey? Then look no further. Taste the difference with unique seasonal varieties of truly wildflower honey produced within healthy beehives, hand packed to ensure all the beneficial enzymes and probiotics remain intact as live functional food. Visit them on their Facebook and also on their website at bushboysbeehives.com. Hey everyone. So I'm here again with another review here for you guys, and as promised, it is on Star Wars The Last Jedi, which is episode 8 in the current new trilogy of Star Wars following the original trilogy. And wow, this movie, walking out of it, I was extremely pleased and also had even more questions than what I had going into it. So I have a lot to talk about in a short amount of time, so let's just go ahead and get it started. So the last where the Force Awakened left us was Rey finding out she has true potential as a Jedi, and she goes to this island with Chewie on the Millennium Falcon to find the one and only Luke Skywalker, which in turn posts the Last Jedi, perhaps. And with that, it leaves a huge cliffhanger in the first film of the trilogy, and it left fans wondering, well, what exactly will happen? And the potential just opened up after seeing the many trailers for this before coming out, all the pre-trailers and everything in the movies. There was so much. It seemed so dark and eerie, and a potential to draw a line as far as what fans really wanted and exactly what Star Wars is meant to be. Now, we all know that the characters cannot last forever, as much as we would like to and as much as they can portray it. And it was already clear with choosing the new characters and the new actors that they were going to go in a direction that would move forward for Star Wars to come. When they brought in the original three, which is Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford, it was almost like a tribute to have those characters in these films and to move forward. But if The Force Awakens in the previous film has anything to say about where they wanted to go with the direction of these films, then no one should be really surprised with what happens in this movie, The Last Jedi. So, story-wise, Rey confronts Luke and wants to not really be trained, but she wants to have Luke be the savior as he once was. The whole alliance and, the rebels just want to join forces and strike back at the First Order, which is the new, we can say, like, villainous squad, and which is led by Snoke, who is what we know as of now the new Sith Lord. And Snoke is a very mysterious character on his own, and to have Kylo Ren there really makes a almost visual. However, Snoke has a bit more of appearance in this movie, and the details as far as what they exactly want are scarce. We know what Kylo wants, and we know what Rey wants. And Rey's story opens up a bit more, but I think even more so, I think they focused a bit more on Kylo. And the direction they went with it was very broad. And I think that's why there was more questions than there were answers in this movie. Once that is done, all the original characters from the first movie, Poe and Finn, and there's even a new character named Rose, and it's a good combination of what they end up doing with the film. And this is a longer film, the longest actual Star Wars film that has ever been played. And story-wise, I felt it had too many gaps, unfortunately. There were some things where they could have taken out and maybe not even shown, and put a little bit more emphasis on the Force and the Jedis. And I think that could have been a very good gap, not only just for fans, but also for the story as a whole to continue. So with that being said, the story I felt was good, but not as strong as it needed to be, especially for the amount of extra time they gave in the film. Um, as far as acting goes, I thought all the actors played amazing in this one. There were obviously some that stood out way more than others. I felt The Force Awaken had a bit more of a steady focus on the actors and how they portrayed their characters. And this one, there was just so much going on that you lost kind of sight of where the characters needed to be, because all to be true, this whole movie was so confusing, and the fact that you were trying to figure out what's good, what's evil, and where is this leading to? Because knowing it's a trilogy, you know that in the middle, if Empire Strikes Back, resembles anything as far as trilogies, a lot can happen at one time, but what does it lead for the future? And I don't really think that it did that good of a job doing that. However, I was very happy to see Mark Hamill again actually act as Luke Skywalker. And it was great to see Daisy Ridley again. She's a very hardworking actress, and she did well. John Boyega, and then also Oscar Isaac, who plays Poe, all did a very good job. And I mean, even for the late Carrie Fisher, it was just great to see Leia again. However, there were just some scenes where it felt so odd. Not only as a fan myself, because I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but just as a movie as a whole, I felt like these are some of the scenes that you would see. But the acting was really well done for the parts that were there and needed to. And if I have to give credit to any of the actors that I felt really stood out, I would have to say it goes to Mark Hamill and Adam Driver. Adam Driver is who plays Kylo Ren. And it was amazing when those two were on screen, not necessarily together, but just the performances I felt stood out way more than any of the other characters. So going into the score and the music, I love Star Wars music. I've always been a fan of orchestra, and I mean, it's John Williams again. So as I normally do, I'll go ahead and play a piece for you guys here from the movie. So that made me pretty happy, just because it stood with the theme. And throughout the movie, I mean, the score for Star Wars has always been something fierce. I think what really it was missing, though, especially in its action sequences, was the very noticeable and loving choir. The howling choir with the very dramatic orchestra music in the background, especially for a lot of the action parts. I felt like we're really missing that, especially in a Star Wars movie. It just makes it so much more deep and emotional. And especially for this movie, there was a lot of emotion in certain points for a long duration of time. So I really felt there could have been more of that to push through. This one was really hard to score, I'm not going to lie, because I am a huge fan and I was trying not to be biased. But at the same time, as a fan, I think, we need to do the film justice as far as moving forward. And I want to be honest to people who are Star Wars fans, and then also people who just really enjoy watching an action sci fi movie. And I think if you look at it as far as the future, this is just what Star Wars is going to be and move forward. So I'm giving Star Wars The Last Jedi 3 out of 4 stars. It's a very, very low 3. I was really thinking about going for 2 stars, but I felt like there was enough of it as a movie to push it forward for 3 stars. And I had to take away my biased fanism to do that. And I know a lot of Star Wars fans are pretty upset in the direction that they're going. However, at the same time, I feel I would rather have these characters in the film as far as how they were going to be portrayed moving forward, than not have them at all in Wonder. But then they could have been saved. Maybe that's what people really want. But just seeing Mark Hamill portray Luke Skywalker was enough for me to say, you know what? I really needed to see that at least one more time. So it was great to see. Um, 3 out of 4 stars. If you're a fan, I highly recommend you go see this movie in IMAX, just because you will get the best sound quality and I think overall experience for the movie. For those just looking for a really good action sci-fi movie, this one's good. This one's very good up there. If not, if you're afraid of what's to happen or go through, you could wait for it. But I think this is really a movie that you should experience in theaters. So I'm giving it 3 out of 4 stars, guys. I don't want to spoil anything for you. So if you want to go ahead, end it here. If not, then you can listen to my geek out moment, which is probably my most exciting part about this. So thank you again so much for the support. Please let me know in the comments what you think. And I will see you next time in my next review. Have a happy holiday. Okay. So now that I got all that out of the way, which was very hard to go through because, like I said, I'm a huge fan. My geek out moments. Okay, so now that this is like spoiler kind of area where I can go into, so what I really feel was missing from this film, extremely missing from this film, was a legit lightsaber battle. It was eagerly needing the Star Wars, lightsaber duel to the death. And I thought from what we had in The Force Awakens, which was a really good lightsaber duel at the end between Rey and Kylo, it just felt lost. There was so much potential. So my favorite scene is actually the point where Kylo turns in Rey to Snoke, and Snoke is convinced that because Rey cannot be converted to the dark side and give up her master, Luke's location, that Kylo has now have the opportunity to slay Rey, but he doesn't. Instead, huge plot twist, he ends up killing Snoke, which I think does the story and the whole Sith, as far as we know, storyline, it just completely cuts it, which is one of my many questions. Why? But anywho, after this, and she's pleasantly surprised because this is what she's been wanting the entire time, they go into this hand-in-hand lightsaber combat against these red elite soldiers, and it's just awesome because it's lightsabers and it's action. But they weren't lightsaber dueling. They were just lightsaber battling with other people as a team. It was really just awesome to see. There's, tons of sparks flying, the lightsaber blast. There's a lot of choreography and a lot of cool, motions that they do, and slow-mos, which I'm not really too much of a fan of, but it actually worked out in this entire scene. So that made me really happy. Although, as an overall experience, The Last Jedi just makes you want more versus answering, I think, the questions that we all deserve. So I really hope that the third and final in this trilogy, Episode 9, since it's going to be directed by J.J. Abrams, that he can really tie in not only the questions that we're looking for, but also, some of that action that we're craving. I mean, if you can hear this, J.J. Abrams, or just Star Wars and Disney in general, just give us some badass lightsaber duels, and we'll be happy. We'll be very happy. I mean, give us a good story, a decent story, but man, just have some epic lightsaber battles. That's what they're meant for, and that's what we love as Star Wars fans. Thank you again, guys, so much for watching. I'm sorry this one was so long. It's just had a lot to think about to make the review, so enjoy your holiday, and thank you so much again for all your support. I really appreciate it.